Hello, viewers, and you're welcome back to the Edfields Podcast. Today, our discussion will focus on the distribution of marital property in Ghana and the complex question of who gets what when the marriage comes to an end. Now, a viewer has sent an email to the Edfields Podcast team telling us about the end of her marriage and the properties acquired during the pendency of the marriage and how she believes this property should be distributed between herself and her husband as their marriage has come to an end. Now, to help me discuss this very important topic, of course, I do have lawyers here with me who would assist us to give us legal advice or give the viewer legal advice on her issue. Now, help me welcome Esther. Esther, you're welcome
Thank
to
you
the
very
Edfields
much.
Podcast. Good to have you. Of course, we have Eunice. Eunice, you are welcome to the Edfields Podcast. And Prince, you're
One in
welcome.
four.
It seems you are the only male today, and we'll see how it goes.
1 in 4. I am fortified.
Exactly. We look forward to that. So you're all welcome.
Thank you.
Now, as I said, we have a story from a viewer. A viewer, let's just say Amma, just to protect her identity. So I would read out her story and we will take it on from there to see how best we can advise her on the legal issue before us. All right.
Let's go.
Now, meet Nana Kofi and Amma Amankwa. They met at the University of Ghana. Nana Kofi read engineering and Amma was a brilliant business administration student. They married in 2009, shortly after graduation. Now, as Kofi's career as a consultant in the oil and gas sector took off, it demanded long hours and extensive travel to Takoradi and abroad. The couple made a decision. Amma would leave her fast-track management position at a top bank to become a full-time homemaker. Her new role was to manage their home, support Kofi's demanding career, and most importantly, raise their children. Their son, Kwame, was born in 2011, followed by their daughter, Ekia, in 2015. For 16 years, their partnership seemed to flourish. Amma and Kofi became a sought-after expert, earning a substantial income. Amma, in turn, was the anchor of the family. She managed the household finances, oversaw the children's education and well-being, and hosted countless dinners for Kofi's business associates, helping to build his professional network. Now, during the marriage, the couple acquired the following assets: the matrimonial home in East Legon. In fact, Amma personally supervised its construction from foundation to finish. There was also a commercial property in Osu. Kofi used his funds from his consultancy bonuses to purchase it. Now, he had always insisted that this was a business investment completely separate from their family life. Now, they acquired an apartment in Takoradi. It was a 2-bedroom apartment, and Kofi claims that this property was a personal gift to him from his wealthy uncle to make his home or his work travels more comfortable. They also acquired a 3-bedroom vacation home in Ebri. Then we have shares in Amankwa Consulting Limited. This was a company where Kofi is the majority shareholder, and it was a successful consulting firm incorporated 10 years into the marriage. Now, finally, we have vehicles. During the subsistence of the marriage, which were acquired by this couple, we have 2 Mercedes-Benz cars, a Honda CRV, and a Toyota Corolla and Land Cruiser. Now, the marriage has experienced some difficulties, and Amma wants a divorce. She is asking for what she believes is a fair share. She wants the East Legon house settled in her name for her and the children. She is requesting for a 50% share in the commercial property, and then a recognition of her interest in the value of Kofi's company. Now, Kofi agreed the marriage was over, but he vehemently contests Ama's property claims. And this is his position. He was the sole breadwinner of the family. He argues that every single property was acquired with the money or with his money and therefore belongs to him. He also claims that Ama's role as a homemaker was simply her wifely duties and does not count as a substantial contribution to the acquisition of the assets. Now, he also insists that the Osu property is a business asset and the Takrady apartment is or was a gift, both of which should be excluded from any settlement. Now, as I end, but he didn't stop there. Interesting. In a move that shocked everyone, Kofi dropped a legal and emotional bombshell. He is challenging the paternity of their second child, 10-year-old Ikia. He claims he has reason to believe that he is not the biological father and is demanding a DNA test. His lawyers argue that if Ikia is not his child, it fundamentally changes the dynamic of the marriage, Ama's contributions, and his obligation for maintenance and property settlement. Amma is devastated. Of course, that's why she's run to us today. She maintains that Kofi is the father of both her children and that this paternity challenge is cruel and a calculated tactic to intimidate her into accepting a smaller settlement. Now, we are faced with a 16-year-old marriage which has crumbled, and of course, there seems to be a struggle for what property has been acquired. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we have before us. As the court will usually have it, they would refer to this matter as Amankwa versus Amankwa. So you can see it's a story of love, sacrifice, and now we have a bitter legal battle before us. And Amma is expecting us to give her the best legal advice based on what the law is for the distribution of property in Ghana. So maybe, Prince, I should start with you as we discuss the issues relating to Ama's problem. Just by way of introduction, we are discussing distribution of marital property in Ghana. What is marital property? What do you term as marital property?
Okay, so I don't intend to sound very controversial, but I have my own ideas,
Right.
my own perception of things. To me, what a marital property is different from what a jointly acquired property is.
Okay.
You can jointly acquire a property without being in marriage. And you can jointly acquire a property whilst you are married. But the court is saying, I don't believe it, but that's what the court is saying. The court is saying that any property that is acquired whilst the marriage is still marriage, not when the marriage is sweet, whilst the marriage is still marriage, whilst the two people we are talking about are still in that marriage, in a relationship called marriage, those properties are called marital or matrimonial properties. So it is not contingent on whether or not someone has been a good wife. It is on whether at the time the property was being acquired, the two of you were called husband and wife.
Okay.
And you can only cease being called husband and wife when the court has decreed that the two of you should not be husband and wife.
Okay.
Sometimes people think that we have fought, I have left the house, so you are no more my husband or my wife. No. So marital or matrimonial property will be that property that you acquired or you built or you bought at the time that the two of you were married.
Okay.
That is what marital
That's
property
what
will be. Yes.
marital properties would be. So the properties listed by Amma,
Yeah.
Esther, would they be termed as marital property? Just before we start analyzing her story, would
Yes,
that be
they'll be
termed?
termed as marital property
Why is that?
because
Please?
they were obtained during the life of the marriage. The marriage has not yet come to an end. When they met, they were just out of school. They were starting their life. But now they are married, they've had kids, they've built a life together. I mean, property has come out of that life that they've built together. And it's still within the 16 years. So with that, I would, by Prince's definition, I would determine that as a marital property because it was acquired during the course of their 16-year-old marriage.
Now, Eunice, from the definition given by Prince and from what Esther has also said, does it also mean that in the marriage, when a spouse acquires a property individually, that property automatically moves from an individual property owned solely by me and now becomes a jointly acquired property?
I think it depends on the case and the circumstances at hand. So usually the Constitution, which is specifically Article 18, recognizes the fact that individuals can own properties either jointly or alone. So the fact that someone is married doesn't necessarily mean that the person cannot own a property individually. But once the couples are married and they are able to obtain some property during the life of the marriage or during the course of the marriage, I would say it's a presumption because it can be rebutted. So once they acquire such property, that will be deemed as marital property. But that notwithstanding, parties can either before the entering into marriage acquire individual property as well. So for the court to determine whether individually owned property qualifies as jointly acquired property depends on the surrounding circumstances and the facts at hand.
You see what Eunice said. It is giving a lot of sense to what I said earlier.
Okay.
That to me, there's a difference between a marital property and a jointly acquired property. And that's what she was explaining. That marital property is what you have acquired during the marriage, but where you are in the marriage, the law still allows you that luxury to own your own property. You see, so in that circumstance, I am married and I have acquired property in my own name for myself alone. Would it be jointly acquired? Even though it was done whilst I was married.
And that is in fact that is Ama's husband's argument with regards to the business, that he invested his own bonuses into that business, and so it should not be part of the settlement. So that is a property acquired individually. His intention is not for it to be jointly acquired.
He should make his intention known to
Exactly.
the partner, to Amma, that this property I'm acquiring is exclusively for me. It's not a marital property. It's not for you and I. It's not something that has to do with our marriage. This is something I want for myself.
And even
He should make that intention
during
clear.
distribution, he should be able to lead evidence to support the fact that yes, he clearly stated to Amma that Amma, this property is for me, individually owned, which Amma agreed. So evidence is not just by saying to Amma, he should be able to prove that Amma actually understood that, hey, this property is actually mine. And based on the surrounding circumstances, the court would actually hold. That's why I said, that's why I emphasized on the right to own property. Marriage shouldn't be seen as a clog or fetter that once you are in a marriage and you obtain a property, then that means individually you can't own a property. No, you can still own a property individually or your sole benefits whilst you are in a marriage.
When they started, I was thinking that they were so passionate about this because it is Amma.
Oh, no.
And then she brought in this argument. You see, what I'm going to say is not because it is Kofi. It's because I strongly feel about what I'm talking about. Now, you see, let me sound a little bit technical. The constitution that we all rely on is one piece. It's one document that has different provisions. Each provision is trying to solve a certain problem. When you look at Article 22.3, which this subject is primarily about, it is talking about two things.
Okay.
That whilst you are married, all the properties that you have acquired, both of you have equal access. So when you look at that 22.3a, because it is talking about equality, it used the word equal when it has to do with access. Then it comes to be and talks about distribution. Then it says distribution is supposed to be equitably done.
Before you go on, just explain equal access and then equality before you move on.
Yes. So equal access means that we have acquired this property, 4-bedroom. And then you say that this room or that room, I don't want you to go there. You are, like, I'm using your own words, you are clogging that person's right.
Okay.
Let's say we have acquired 2 cars there. Of course, maybe I take this one out sometimes and then you take that. But we have not specifically shared that this is yours, don't touch mine or that. Anyone can use any car. And then you say that these cars you are not supposed to touch. You are not giving the person that equal access that you have to those cars. Because you are married and those were acquired during the marriage, the law says that you should have equal access. But when it came to distribution, it said equitably. That is what has generated a lot of conversation. That what is equitable? I'm sure we'll get there. But where I am heading towards is that the Constitution is supposed to be interpreted such that some provisions are not seen more important than others. Because, like I said, it is one piece, one document that contains different provisions. And so if 22.3 is saying that you have equal access, you have equitable distribution, then you look at 18.1, which is saying that every person has the right to acquire property.
Which is what Eunice said earlier on.
Either in him or herself alone or in concert with others.
Constitutional right.
Yes. So if you look at the in concert with others, marriage can fit in there. That you can acquire property with your wife or your husband. But it is also saying that you can acquire property in yourself. So why would you look at two provisions that are talking about property, right? And then think that 22 should have more importance, should ride over, or 22 should be given more importance than 18. And that is what some of the judges are saying. That when you do that, you are trying to suggest to people that immediately you get married, your ability to acquire property is limited. That's why the boys are not getting married, though. Because
all their property.
That's not the reason.
But you see, why are they not getting married? Because the properties they've acquired before marriage is not subject to this whole marital thing.
But
So it's only when they get married and they start
see,
to
Jasmine,
produce,
even
or they
with that,
begin to
I have
acquire
an
property.
issue. You can own that property before marriage, but still that property may be classified as something jointly acquired in the course of the marriage. Let's say, not to deviate from the question, but Prince is obviously married. So let's say prior to the marriage, Prince bought apartment A or a land. Okay, let me put it this way, a land. And during the course of Prince's marriage with, let's say, Party B was the one helping Prince with the construction of the property. So in the end, they had like 8-bedroom apartment. Yes, Prince got the land prior to the marriage, but in the course of the marriage, the wife also contributed to it. So in that regard, you can't really...
I get it. But you see, I'm coming back to
Is
the
that
point
the
that
case? What Eunice is saying, does that make sense?
it happens that you have bought land, you've not built anything, and then you get married, and then your wife starts helping you to build. You see, your contribution towards acquisition of the house, you see, I didn't say land, of the house was you bringing the land. Her contribution towards the acquisition of the house was whatever she brought. So at the end of the day, what you are fighting over is not the land. Even though in law, when we talk about land, we are talking about what is beneath, what's on it, and blah, blah, blah. But we are looking at the house. What did you bring? I brought the land. You ask her, she will tell you what she brought. And that is where this jointly acquired property thing will come in. You see, I was talking about this being one of the reasons men are not getting married, because, see, it's very important. You see, we should be very social. We should be very, very objective. How many men become made, right? Completely made before they get married? How many?
Just a few.
Yes, research says that between 28 and 35, a lot of men get married. And the average man who has a degree in Ghana is 23 years. And research is also saying that it takes a minimum of 5 years for a man to say that now I'm saving money to get property. 5 plus 23 is what? It's not 28. So you see, 28 years, you are now saving to acquire property. By then, someone already has a wife and a kid. So the possibility that you can acquire property is high when you are married. Because of the age and the circumstances.
But is it not the case that you being married also helps you to acquire property?
It is granted. But if you see, the fact that you will get married will not mean that you will reduce how you work. In fact, you will increase it. So if a man thinks that, oh, I'm now going to increase my sweating abilities, I'm now going to increase the way I suffer to get all these things, and then you think that, wait, then when I get married, everything I do is for me and my wife. He will not marry. Yes, because he will wait.
But the wife is the one taking care of the home,
Exactly.
taking care of your kids.
Men
Men talk about legacy. She's actually continuing your legacy for you.
You see, you are saying your kids now they you see,
They have your surname.
Exactly.
They have your surname. I mean, you people are proud taking the kids to church and then naming them and all. The giant things you take. But why don't you want to?
you see,
And even taking a scenario into this, she was the one even taking care of the kids.
The kids, he wasn't
Nurturing them.
around.
Whilst you were, Kofi was busy doing other things, chasing the money.
you see, you are saying it like taking care of the thing, like you will just be there and then you carry the child here, you say food, and then food will come. And then you just feed the child. Or you are just in the house and you say light, and then boom, light will come.
The point is, the man is out chasing for the money, and the woman is at home maintaining the home.
Yes, I am not disputing that fact.
Even in Kofi's case, she was actually organizing parties to even help him
The
in his
fact
workplace.
that she even quit her job,
She's always a top
Exactly.
banker.
Just
She
to
quit her
maintain
job
the
to
home.
maintain the home
That's
because
okay.
the man is not around.
Yes, no, you can't say that. He's not around saying, See, men, we are created not to sit at one place.
Kofi
If you
is
sit,
normally not around. He
No.
will go days without coming
he's
home.
going to bring money home.
But the woman is the
is
one
also
holding the
maintaining-
fort.
And you see, I'm coming back to this property thing.
Yes.
I think Esther mentioned that if you don't especially tell her that, oh, no, this is mine alone and all that, I disagree. Because you see, circumstances can lead to a conclusion that you knew that the property was for me alone.
Okay. So
I
you
know
need
a
not
couple.
say it.
Yes.
Mhm.
You see, that has brought another argument. You know, we have a land act.
Mhm.
A land act, there is this provision, section 38, saying that when you acquire a property and it is in your name and there is nothing in it, especially saying that, oh, you, the man or the woman, it is for you
For you
alone,
both.
then it is construed as a property
Property
for
for
all, the two of you.
Yes.
But you see, I have seen people who are married 20 years now. You see, the man started building in his hometown and at the same time building in the woman's hometown.
Mm.
He never told the woman that this is for me alone. This is for you alone. But you see, a reasonable man sitting somewhere would think that, why is this man building two houses at the same time, not at a neutral ground, but one in his hometown and one in the hometown of the woman? See, it gets to the court, we will put pieces together and see that there was an intention especially conveyed to the woman that what I'm building in your hometown is for
It's
you.
for you.
But what I'm building in my hometown is
you.
for me. I never told you, but the circumstances put together will suggest to every person that this property was for you alone. This is for me alone. And that goes to this property Amma was talking about, that Kofi is saying that he used his investment and all that. There are two scenarios, or there are two arguments to it. One, there's a possibility that he used company money to do it.
Okay.
You go into it and the
Well, he said
Property
he
will
used
be in the
his
name of the-
bonuses. He said he used his
Bonuses
bonuses
from work.
from work to set up this
Clearly,
new
he
company.
communicated to
Yes.
Amma.
I'm even talking about the property he said he acquired from the business money and said that this is business and this is
okay. Yeah.
For all you know, you go into the whole situation and realize that the property is in the name of the company. Even though he'll be the sole shareholder, we all know that when you have a company, the company in law is a human being on its own. Whatever the company is acquiring is for the company. So Amma cannot talk about it. It's for the company. If you are asking for shares that Kofi is holding, then that's fine. But the property encore is not for you.
Okay.
So allow us to breathe.
Oh,
Right.
When a property is acquired by a spouse, by inheritance or by gift, that will not be deemed as a marital property,
Okay.
because the other spouse did not make any contribution or whatsoever to that property.
Prince, I think you should tell us on now the sharing. What is the mind of the courts?
You see, it's supposed to be very simple, but like I always say, because human beings are complex, life will never be simple. People are always looking out for things that they even genuinely know that they don't deserve. That's why I'm saying that it will never be simple. But in simple terms, it's either you have contributed to it or you've not.
Okay.
If you have not contributed to it, should I say as a woman, because you are three here,
You can't.
as a spouse, yes, that's safer.
As a spouse.
As a spouse. Now, on divorce, we are looking at whether the court will use its own discretion to settle property on you just because there is going to be divorce. Or we are looking at the circumstance of the case to see what you actually deserve by virtue of the fact that you were a wife. The second one is where the controversy is. Now, there's been a property that you claim that you are entitled to. The court is now looking at, was there any intention from the one who is claiming that the whole property is for him and he is not supposed to share with you, that he wants to own it alone. If there was no intention like that, then we say that, oh, then it was a matrimonial property and it was jointly acquired. If someone is saying that, or let me say, Kofi is saying that I made substantial contribution towards the acquisition of that house. Amma is saying that, yes, I also made contribution. The court will ask you, what is your contribution and what is your contribution? If you are unable to, in a very certain term, tell the court with evidence that this is the exact contribution I made, then the court will say that because the two of you made substantial contribution, it's going to be 50-50. That's where people don't get. You are saying that you made substantial contribution to the acquisition of the property. He's also saying that he made substantial contribution to the acquisition of the property. Both of you are unable to determine or tell the court exactly how much you contributed to the acquisition. And none of you is disputing the contribution of the other. Then it means that the court should do equity by making it equal, 50-50. But where you are able to substantially establish that Amma contributed, or Amma's contribution, when you put everything together, is around $30,000, and the whole house is $200,000, we know that that is not up to 50%. That is where the court can look at the circumstance and say that based on what has been established, I'll give Amma 20% of the house, or I'll give Amma 10%, 30% of the house, and not 50-50. So nobody should put in the head that by virtue of the fact that you are married to a person, you have 50% of the shares of the person's property. That's not it.
Okay.
And the fact also that you are married will not necessarily mean that whatever property that has been acquired will be shared. So as far as the distribution or the sharing is concerned, is on case by case basis. There have been instances where the woman has even been given 60% because the only thing the man brought was the land.
Was accounting skills.
The land. He only brought the land. And the woman did the supervision of the construction. The woman bought the iron rods. The woman bought the cement. Her own money. Her own money. Just, women have this compassionate yes, posturing where, it's good not to always rent. So you see that you don't even have money and say, I'll give you my money. Where 90% will take it back, but those who will not take it back will say that, me sika ya sika. And then you see that, you're laughing because it's not true.
It's true.
Your sika is not your sika. You see?
So just to give Amma the actual advice she needs for her story or her issue, I will take each of the property and then you tell me what it is, or you advise Amma whether or not she has a case or not. So Amma is asking for the property, that's their matrimonial home in East Legon, where she supervised the building from finish, from foundation to the end. She's asking for the full house to be settled for herself and the kids. What do you say about that?
I believe she should be given the full house.
Hey, I disagree.
In the sense that Kofi is always not around. So the possibility of the children at the end of the marriage going with Kofi would be practically not there.
Mm-hmm.
Kofi will not be in the children's life almost every time. Maybe he will get visits, but the children will be full-time with Amma. And the house will be where the children will live with Amma. So I think Amma should be given the full house so that she'll be able to live there and have a permanent place for the kids, whilst Kofi will be traveling all around because he travels all around anyway.
Okay, Prince.
I agree with you.
You agree?
No, but I disagree.
You
honestly.
disagree.
I think aside this, she's asking for other things as well. And clearly, Kofi also contributed to that property. It's not just Ama's contribution. And if you could tell, hers was as we have already stated, substantial contribution, not financial contribution. So I think the court should go into it. Initially, Prince said that if they are unable to show that, yes, I contributed this amount, that then 50-50 contribution should do.
Should work. Okay, so we leave that for the court at the end of the day. But at least Amma has an advice on that, on what the mind of the court could be. Now she's also asking for a 50% share in the Osu commercial property. Remember that property, Kofi got that from funds from his consultancy and bonus to purchase it, and he argues, it's Kofi's argument that, look, this is my business investment, completely mine, has nothing to do with you, Amma, or the marriage.
For me,
Prince.
even if that property is not in the name of Kofi's business, this is not shareable. Because there is a high possibility that Kofi will be able to prove, putting pieces together, that there was an intention expressly communicated to Amma that this has to do with my business and not family life. So something that has to do with my business and not family life, how do we share it?
Okay.
So this, zero for Amma.
I disagree.
Yeah.
Amma is not supposed to get 50%, but at least 20%. She has not been in her field for 16 years. She's about to start over. She would need something to start over with. So if at least she gets one of the commercial property, one that she can even get income from, that would be okay to me. Because I don't think
because
that
the commercial property has four shops.
There are others.
I
There are
agree
other-
with Prince as well. The intentions were clear from the beginning. So definitely. Okay, let's
I'm
see what
sticking
the
with
court-
Article 18. Not that, should we share? Should you give him some? No. There's an intention that this is not supposed to be shared.
Clearly stated from the beginning.
Bonus is not here. I've gone to.
But as long as she's benefiting from his salary, shouldn't she benefit from his
bonus
bonuses?
as well?
It's just a question.
Hey,
Let's leave it
I'm
for the
asking
court.
Prince.
very soon,
How different is bonus from salary?
very soon, women will be saying that when we take our tithe, we should give them 30% to go and give to God.
Which
Because
God
they-
will understand.
they went with us.
we'll go and give it to God for you.
I'm
We'll go
sure
and
God
give
will
it
be
to
happy
you.
about that.
We'll go and give it to God for
Right.
you.
She's also asking, Amma is also asking for a recognition of her interest in the value of Kofi's company.
Oh.
Remember, he has shares in Amankwa Consulting Limited. Prince.
Sometimes we put these things there just to see if God will smile at us. But this, you know that you won't get.
You get it. It's impossible. All right. Now, listen to what Kofi says. Kofi is saying that Amma's role as a homemaker was simply her wifely duty
No.
and does not count as substantial contribution to
that's
the
a non-starter.
acquisition of assets.
Mhm.
What do you say about that?
Yeah.
It counts.
It can't. It
It
doesn't
counts.
hold there. Okay. Now, another issue that cropped up, I think, in this whole marriage fiesta had to do with the DNA test that Kofi is saying that one of the kids, I think, is that the girl, Ikia, that would be the second child, I believe, is not his. So how does this affect the distribution of marital property in the first place?
It has nothing to do with marital property distribution, but it has everything to do with custody and then maintenance orders. So in our laws, the starting point is that when you are married to a woman and a child is born, if at the time the child is being born, you are still married, there's a presumption that the child is yours or you are the father of the child. Because it is a presumption, it means that if you get evidence to suggest otherwise, then we can say that the child is not yours. So if you have any reason to disbelieve the paternity of that child, you can put it before the court. And the court can make an order that, okay, do a DNA test. Let's see if indeed that child is yours. If it comes out negative, that the child is not yours, then it means that the court cannot force you to provide for that child. The court cannot force you to take custody of that child. That is where the conversation can go. But as to the conversation that the child is not mine, and because of that I will not
So
give you
affect
this.
distribution.
Like Esther said, marriage is not a commercial transaction where you say that, okay, you've done this, so I'm setting off. We don't do that. But it goes into the question of who gets custody, who gets access, and who pays what, and who maintains who. Yes, that's how it's.
So I think that's it for Ahmed's scenario. But before we come to a close, I have a question that has to do with polygamous marriages. How does the court share or distribute marital property where a man has 3 wives and one is has decided to get out of the marriage? How will the courts distribute?
The concept of individually owning property and what Prince said at Article 22 doesn't change. It still affects polygamous marriage. But with polygamous marriage, here lies the case that the man has other wives and probably other kids as well. So the mind of the court usually tilts towards the fact that even if one of the women is leaving, at least she should get something which is equitable, reasonable, and fair, so that the other women will not be
affected.
prejudiced in a way.
Yeah.
So let's say there are 5 buildings. You can't clearly say you want 50-50 of everything. What about the other women and the kids as well? So something which is reasonable and fair in that sense would do.
Great. So I believe we have done justice to everything, at least if not in respect of distribution of marital property in Ghana. And I believe we've done justice to Ahmed's story. Do we agree?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So viewers, thank you very much for joining us. I believe it's been a great and very interesting discussion. Amma, wherever you may be, I believe we've done justice to your situation and we've given you the legal standpoint on how properties acquired between yourself and your husband can be distributed by the court if you do go before the court. So I would like to say thank you. If you have any questions, any further questions, any feedback, of course, you can go see any legal person to give you further advice on this. But viewers, thank you very much. Do join us again for another episode on some other area of the law. And of course, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also comment on any of our social media platform. And if you have any questions, any comments, I'm sure you would receive a response from the team. Thank you and have a good weekend.